Hey, what's up guys? Welcome again to Project Lexi. And today's video is all about reptile axes. Specifically, different types of reptile build. Yes, you've heard it. It's all about Reptilia's Amigo. So alright, before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's get started. So first things first, let's talk about Reptile's class advantage. So as you can see here, axes that has class advantage will deal additional 15% damage, and axes that has the class disadvantages will deal 15% less damage. So in short, reptiles can deal additional 15% damage against aquatic, bird, and stone axes. In addition, those axes that we have mentioned will deal 15% less damage against reptile class. So it's very straightforward that reptiles has full advantages against aqua and bird axes. That's why they are considered as the main counter for them. Well, reptile axie can be used as a semi-tank. Because of their high base HP, they can easily withstand any burst attack coming from your aqua or your bird axes. Moreover, reptiles have a variety of special cards and abilities that can disrupt attacks and inflict negative debuffs to enemies, making reptiles very annoying to deal in PvP arena. Unfortunately, to compensate this overpowered madness, reptiles have limited damage output compared to other axes. So now, let's talk about different types of reptiles, particularly in the PvP arena. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert nor a professional axie player, so please do your research first before buying any axes on the marketplace. So first on our list is the tri-spike or the backdoor reptile. Of course, tri-spikes serve as the core ingredient of this build, and it prioritizes enemies with lowest shield when comboed with 2 or more cards. And together with Disarm, combined with Allergic Reaction, this card combo can deal massive amount of damage to your enemies and applies negative attack speed to inflicted axes for 2 seconds. Well, most of the time, axes that are targeted with this are your enemy's backliner, and in some cases are their damage dealers. Moreover, it would be nice if you can gain energy to your opponents, as most reptiles are slower than other mid laners. Kotaro, gain 1 energy if target is faster than this axie, and most of the time we will be dealing with faster axes on the mid lane. And that's one of the advantages of slower axes when it comes to energy gain. Again, this build is not absolute or final. You can always replace your mouth, horn, and tail with other high damage output card, and try to experiment using non-reptile build as well. Second, we have your standard Terminator reptiles. This build is very common and you can see it frequently on PvP arenas, especially on mid to high MMR rank. Usually, Terminators are your typical backliners. They are very energy efficient and reliable when it comes to the endgame battle. And this build is comprised of 3 bug cards and 1 reptile cards. Sticky Go works as a defensive cards that gives you 60 points on defense, and stun enemy attacker if this axis shield breaks. This could easily disrupt your enemy's attack combo and leaving your axis unharmed during battle. In addition, Mystic Rush, comboed with Allergic Reaction, gives you an additional 130% damage to debuff targets. And Chomp applies stun to enemy when comboed with at least 2 additional cards. This negative debuff and multiple stun combo makes the Terminator deadly on the late game, as Mystic Rush doesn't cost anything, so having 2 energy on hand could sustain a never-ending negative debuff stun combo to your enemies. Well, aside from your standard Terminator reptiles, we also have your non-classic Terminator. And this build is comprised of multiple axie parts, which includes one bug, bird, and two reptile cards. Similar to your standard Terminators that have sticky go and jump for multiple stun effect. Well, this build is more on high damage output rather than inflicting debuffs to your enemies. Also, similar to Mystic Rush, Kuko doesn't cost any energy, so having 2 energy on hand could still sustain a never-ending stun combo to your enemies, as well as increasing your damage output. Tiny Dino, on the other hand, deals 150% damage after round 4. So together with this card, a late game battle would be absolutely insane to anyone facing this Terminator. But wait, Terminators are not your perfect Aqua and Bird Axie Predators, as there are many cards and builds that can easily disrupt its negative debuff stun combo. For instance, the Grubble Ant card that disables target melee cards. This is the ultimate counter for the Terminators, and of course, there are still many out there. Well, if you haven't watched my video on Terminator build and guide on our YouTube channel, I would highly recommend it watching. So if you have extra time, please visit our YouTube channel for more Axie Infinity contents. Next, we have the Reflector build Reptile. This build is very effective against high damage birds and aqua. The more damage this axie gets from the enemies, the better. Well, of course, it has something to do with the 2 reflect cards. Bulwark, known as your Indian Star, reflects 40% of melee damage back to your enemies, while Tiny Catapult reflects 50% of range damage back against to your attacker. This is completely insane damage return, especially when it comes to squishy targets like birds and aqua. And together, it will give us 120 shield points, which is a nice amount of defense. Moreover, you can add the critical escape for an additional 15% damage reduction, and this build would make your reptiles tankier than any shielded tanks. Although, it doesn't give us enough attack power, but the damage return is crazy. Rather than focusing on damage, better look for an energy recharge cards that will give us sustain in the late game. Kotaro gain 1 energy if target is faster than this axie, and in most part, we'll be facing a lot of faster enemies like birds and aqua in the late game, so this would help us to gain energy in battle. And finally guys, reptiles are very versatile and they're user-friendly as well, can adapt easily in different battle scenario and team composition. So basically, this tutorial is not limited to the things that we had discussed earlier, and as always, we can try experimenting different builds and team composition, and there are still hundreds of card combination out there. And I haven't included some meta builds as some of them are really expensive and rare, maybe in our next video. So disclaimer, I'm not an expert nor an Axie pro player, so do your research first, and please comment down below if you have any suggestion about our content for today. And have a nice day, and always thank you for watching.